When we study Buddhism, it's important to learn its prehistory and philosophy in order to understand how Buddhism arrives in this world. There were two main rivals before or during the time of the Buddha. One is the Brahmanism and other is Samanism. Brahmanisms were the traditionalists who holds the ancient Vedic thought, and Samanisms were the renunciants who wanders from place to place and teach their views according to their way of life. And these two were the rivals to each other, Brahmanism and Samanisms. They were against each other. The difference is that Brahmanisms were the orthodox and Samanisms were the heterodox. And Brahmanisms were the theistic religions and Samanisms were the atheistic religions. And against Brahmanisms were the believers of one God, that means monoisms, and Samanisms were the believers of many things, so they are called pluralisms. So this is the main differences between each others. In order to know about the Brahmana traditions or about their views, we have to look into the Vedic traditions, that means Vedic literature. And the Vedic literature is divided into two parts. First is Shruti, which is to hear, and another is Smriti, which is to remember. First of all, Vedic means to know. That means to learn, to know something. It is the Vedic, to have knowledge about something. So Shruti is the first of the Vedic literatures, which is divided into 4 parts. And Smriti is it came later periods after the Vedic Smriti, which is to remember. So we are not going to discuss much about this. So we just try to understand about the Shruti, which is to hear. So first is the Rig Veda. It is the knowledge about the verses or hymns. Second is the Yajurveda, knowledge about the sacrifices. Third is the Samaveda, knowledge about the chants. And fourth is the Atharva Veda, knowledge of the 5 priests. So these are the 4 main texts of the Vedic literatures. And each Veda is included of these 4 subdivisions. One is the mantras, second is the brahmanas, third is the aranyakas, the fourth is the Upanishads. So at the beginning, At first, Vedas we used to be the hymns or mantras and recited by the poets. But as the rituals and ceremonies and sacrifices have been advanced, a few centuries later, Brahmanas came into being, and it's added to the Vedas, and it's followed by the Aranyakas and Upanishads. So what it means that mantras are the hymns that were recited during the ceremonies, and the Brahmanas are the text that discuss about ritual ceremonies or sacrifices. Aranyakas were the texts that also discuss about the ritual ceremonies and sacrifices. The Upanishads discuss about the meditations, philosophies, or spiritual knowledge. This is how the Vedic tradition have been developed and had been evolved little by little. At the beginning, they were only used to be the hymns recited by the poets, and second, when the sacrifice have been advanced, the Brahmanas were included in the Vedic. And the third parts, they try to find out that we need something that has to be developed from inside, especially from our knowledge about of the activities. Then when they, so that they can connect from the self to the God, the Upanishads were included in the beginning to discuss about the philosophical views. So these were the three things. First is poets, second is Brahmanas, and third is the philosophers. And it can be understood that these four items, mantras, Vedas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads, these four have distinguished the stages of life of the society, of the life of the peoples. Especially they divided into four groups. Again, first is brahmachari. That means person who is a childhood and a young age. And second is the grahastha, it's a householder. Third is the vanaprastha, forest dweller. And the fourth is the sannyasi, who are complete renunciants from the world. So when the person is young, he is supposed to recite and memorize the Vedas. This means four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda. So when a person is young, he has to recite these Vedas, and he used to celebrate, and he has to devote to his teachers, and he gained knowledge about the Vedas. So when he became mature, he became adult, he became the householder, grahastha. At the beginning, he first brahmacharya, second his grahastha, became householder to look after the family and get married, produce children, and work for the society, work for the families. These are the things. So when he became getting old, let's say he have to withdraw from the home or family to the secluded life. He have to depart to the forest, and to substitute his place, his children or grandchildren have to practice at the household works. When the children grow up, he has to depart from the home to the forest. That is called vanaprastha. Then he have to just do and writing commentaries and meditate, etc. And he became getting more and more old. Like when he became about 80 or 90, he had complete renunciance from the whole world. So he had to become a sannyasi, begging for their foods, meditates, and sometimes they teach to the children, etc. He has to complete renunciation from the whole world, from the family, from the societies, and at the last age. So these are the four groups, and Hinduism have adapted to live the life in forces. First is brahmacharya, second is the grahastha, third is the vanaprastha, fourth is the sannyasi. So if we compare with the Vedic, brahmacharya is the who learn Vedic. Grahastha is the who does the brahmanas works, especially ceremonies, rituals, and sacrifices. And the sannyasi, vanaprastha, you can add to the aranyakas, forest dwellers. And sannyasi is to compare with the Upanishads at the last age. So these are the pretty backgrounds of the Vedic traditions, especially of the Brahmana traditions. So these are the things we have to understand how they develop their life styles during the times and before the time of the Buddhas. So now we are going to discuss about Samana traditions. Samanas were the renunciants who just wander place to place and teach their views. Generally, there were many types of samanas. First is the Charvaka, Lokayatas, Jainisms, Ajivakas, and Buddhisms. These were the main parts of the Samanisms. So Buddha himself the part of the Samanisms, but he is completely different from the other Samanas according to their views, because he himself is a renunciant. That's why he belongs to the Samanas. In the discourse of the Buddha, we can find that there were 6 Samanas during or before the time of the Buddhas. First is the Purana Kassapa. Second is the Makali Gosala. Third is the Ajita Kesa Kambali. Fourth is the Pakuda Kajayana. Fifth is the Niganthanata Putta. Sixth is the Sanjaya Balati Putta. The Purana Kassapa is generally teach the moralisms. That means There's neither moral or immorals. You can do whatever you want. You want to kill, steal, commit adultery, telling lies. You do whatever evil you can, but there's no results. There's no fruits of your actions. So even and then if you do the good parts like givings, practicing precepts, and all the good actions, there's no fruits, there's no results of your doing goods. That means there's no use doing goods according to him. So that means he views that there's neither moral or immorals in this world. You can do what you want. There's no fruits. There's no results. This is his views. Second is the Macaulay Gosala. Macaulay Gosala is generally belongs to the Ajivaka group, and he's fatalisms. He believes only in fate or destiny. That means you have no power. There's no power of purifications or defilements of the mind. That means it purifies itself and defiles itself. There's no willpower of the human being. This is his views. That means you cannot do anything yourself, even though if it's defiled. That means it's kinds of happening itself automatically. So this is his views. And the third is the Ajita Kesa Kambali. He belongs to the Charvaka or Lokayata. He belongs to he's materialism. That means this is the only life. There's no life after death. You do whatever you want because you can't get again in this life. Just like in this modern time also, there are people who believe that there's no life after that. You do whatever you want. This is his views. And the fourth is the Pakuda Kachayana. Is eternalisms. That means the human being is made of fire, earth, water, ears. That means this is eternalisms. If you cut or slice to any persons, it's just you cut the earth, water, fire, ears. This is not the cut of a person. It's like his belief. It's eternal. Earth, water, fires, hands, ears, all these things. And the fifth is the Niganthanatha Puta. He's restrained. It's also nowadays it still exists in India, these traditions. Now it's called the Mahavira and Niganthanatha Buddha. They are the restrainer. That means whenever they walk on the paths, they have to all the time be careful to avoid killing something, insects or some kinds of animals or ants. So even they have been so much restrained that they don't even drink cold water to avoid some insects or bacteria inside the water. So they usually drink the boiled water to avoid the killing of something. So they strongly hold the view of ahimsa, not killings. So they restrain themselves, and they think that the past action, whatever you did in the past life, you cannot be cured, only to torture yourselves to purify in order to cleanse from the past actions. This is the way. Self-modifications. And the sixth is the Sanjaya Balatiputta. He's the one who holds he's a skepticism. A person is the suspicious, who never say direct answers. If you say, is this correct? I think so, or I don't think so. So never have the exact answers whenever he's questioned about the matters. He never say the direct answer. He say, I think so, or I don't think so. It's neither correct or no, it is incorrect. So this is the suspicious. So these are the 6 persons that existed during or before or during the time of the Buddhas. And this is the main thing we have to learn, that Brahmanism and Samanism, what is the differences. So although Brahmanism and Samanism are against to each other, there's one basic concept accepted by all of them. So both of them. That means there's idea of existence and the idea of non-existence. One is the idea of selves and other is the idea of body. There's one self and there's one body. And you can say one is the eternalisms, one is annihilationisms. So this is the things where Buddhisms try to avoid and to teach the middle paths as in order to separate from both of these two views. And that is the main focus where Buddhisms go in the middle way to show the not fall either of these two views. One is eternalism and one is annihilationism. So when you believe in this way, when you go in the middle path, you will find that this is the basic to understand everything come in this world due to the conditionals effect, conditionals necessary. This is called the dependent originations. So this is the main value. So I hope you understand it. Thank you.